Welcome at Open Marketing TV. I'm here with Shaun Connolly, Vice President Corporate Strategy at HortonWorks, the company that made Hadoop, the open source database, a success. Let's talk about open source a little bit more, because there are a lot of myths going around concerning open source. Let's face it, successful companies in the field of open source generally add company-specific added value to open source community developments. Shaun, you held high positions as vice president at director level at companies like SpringSource, Red Hat, JBoss and others. So you know your trade. What makes HortonWorks stand out in the open source industry?
So you brought up sort of the myths of open source. How I look at the open source space, having worked at JBoss and Red Hat, is really open source is just a different way of developing software and a different delivery model for that. But particularly if you look at the Red Hat Linux platform or even the Apache Hadoop platform these days, are real live mainstream enterprises are looking to use those to differentiate their business, drive costs down and things like that. Right. So our role at HortonWorks is to be able to drive that solution forward. We just happen to do all that work within the open source community, within the Apache Software Foundation. And I use examples like early days open source projects like Apache Web Server, very commonly used. It's been around almost 20 years, right? Some of the early open source solutions. Most businesses rely on that web server today. When you look at that, being able to deploy that at scale, we're trying to translate that into the Hadoop ecosystem and integrate it into sort of the mainstream enterprise. Like I said, the way we do our work happens to be within an open community, and we deliver it via open source technology. But at the end of the day, we are an enterprise software vendor on how we conduct business, right? So we deliver support, patches and updates and how people use it. We train them on how to most effectively use that software, and we train our partner ecosystem and enable a broader ecosystem of system integrators and folks like that to be able to deliver solutions to broader enterprises and meet their needs. And that's really our role.
Very good, because if there's one thing that interests sysadmins and CIOs, are SLAs. That's a three-letter word for security and assurance.
Right.
Right?
Yes. So yeah, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're going to be deploying software that you're going to bet your business on, you want to have a relationship with somebody who's going to be able to support you in the use of that, and make sure that if you have production outages, you have somebody to call to be able to help you through those issues. And again, that's something that vendors like HortonWorks that we do within the Hadoop community.
Right. If I look at your partner ecosystem, that's impressive. From left to right, Yahoo, Microsoft, Splunk, Teradata, which has customers like Walmart, T-Systems, Greenplum, MapR, SyncSort, Talent, very important for filling up Hadoop, Datamir, LucidWorks and Scality. Impressive. What's up for the future?
So one of our philosophies at HortonWorks was, how do we enable the technology to get pulled into enterprises? So it's one thing to be able to create solid technology that can be deployed, but how does it integrate with what customers may have and other tools that they may have? So that's why I'll just use two as an example. Teradata happens to be used by some of the very largest companies in the world who are running very large-scale data warehouses. And so there are use cases on integrating Hadoop with that solution to enable new insights that haven't been able to be done before. And they have a very strategic relationship with their customer, and we support them in that regard. Microsoft, on the other hand, is an interesting partner in that they're more of a mainstream way of making technology more approachable and simpler. So that partnership is really making Hadoop, which is still evolving and still has technical complexity to it, to enable it for a broader mass market adoption. Microsoft's very good at sort of pulling that in and presenting that to their customers. So that's just two examples of, if we're going to get this important technology into the mainstream and in front of as many enterprises that get value out of it, we're going to have to work with partners like that to make it more approachable and integrate well.
Right, I saw HDInsight at the Developer Days in The Hague, and I was very impressed. Teradata is a global company, and that shines off to HortonWorks. Congratulations, and thank you for the interview.